Welcome back to What Arty Noobs for General Disturbance. This is an M53 M55. It's a tier 9 American SPG. This one's located on the north spawn of Prokhorovka, and it's under the command of a fingernail clipping. And he's got the improved rammer, improved vents, and improved gun lane drive. Game on! Tier 10 game with tier 9 tanks in it. There's always one, isn't there? Oh dear. Normally the traffic jam at the start of a game is a good indication of how coordinated your team are. If they're not coordinated, they tend to run into things a lot. And, oh, now what is happening here? Okay, so he's made as if he's actually going to go up onto the other side, and instead he's actually parking himself behind the tree line. Okay, well, Kun's Panzer's been spotted. Fires around in, lands short. Now that's the 8-inch howitzer, 203mm in caliber. It's capable of doing 850 alpha after the nerf, because of course it used to be 900 alpha. 52mm of pen, 10.5 meters on the burst radius, between 12.5 and 28 seconds of stun. The standard reload, well, if I remember correctly, it's fairly on the high side, around about the 30-second mark. .27 is the standard reload. And it looks like the reload that a fingernail clipping's got probably about the 32-second mark. I didn't actually see, the figure didn't pop up. He's almost loaded. Looks like he's going to aim around where he thinks the enemy team might have placed a couple of their tanks. Use your spot. Just held the aim there. Yes, there is somebody there. So Bosch 155, he fires the round in, gets a direct hit for 568. That was a good shot. Moved away from the firing position just to avoid any counter battery. The enemy Arty in this case happens to also be an M53, M55. Okay, we're getting a request for fire on a Bosch who's right down the other end on the west side of the map. But we were looking a long way down. He was holding the aim on this guy, the E5. Fires the round in, gets a hit, 364. No sign of where the enemy Arty is yet. There are plenty of places on this map you can hide. Not just in the tree line near the railway line, but over on the west side, or even behind the trees that are alongside the back of the map. Fires at the Type 5, gets a hit for 419, and gets a bruise medal out of that one as well. So that's at least 5 critical hits. Oh, you can see where he hit him on the lower plate. That big yellow stain, that's where the Arty round hit. And you can see he hit the Type 5 on the turret. Rounds out on Type 5 again, another hit for 423. And he's immediately changing positions to avoid counter battery, just in case the other guy is trying that. When you've got such a long reload, it makes sense to actually change position. Okay, now you can see where he struck the 752, or rather somebody's struck the 752. Okay, lining up shot, rounds out. Oh, that one went into the side, and that was an armor-piercing round, I think. It certainly didn't explode like an Arty shell for an HE round. It actually sounded like an AP. But he picked up a nice, healthy 570 off that one. Now, these armor-piercing shells will do 600 alpha, so that was a low roll. But they were being so predictable, it made it almost obligatory for a fingernail clipping to get a good hit like that. Oh, well, stun. It was a good shot. Okay, these guys sitting here. Unfortunately, our team doesn't seem to be spotting as much, but we do have an enemy right down the far end. We've got this 752. Rounds out. And that's a big clobber for 375. He's now up to 2,719 recorded damage. We're one up on the enemy at the moment, but our team seems very reluctant to actually push forward. We could take out the 752 with this next shot. Rounds out. Oh, right over the top of him. But the 752 has gone down, and the M48 Patton got the kill shot. The unfortunate news is that all of our tanks up on the hill have now been wiped out. Our M48 Patton's moving to a position where he might be able to spot the enemy if they do come down. Oh, that was a direct hit. He definitely got a direct hit there on the Type 5 Heavy. And yes, he's making the smart move to move directly across the map as quickly as he can, because of course it means that if the M48 Patton doesn't survive, then the enemy's going to be coming across the railway line, and he needs to be out of there before he has to retreat under fire. Okay, so he's just making a nest at the moment, knocking down these trees to provide a bit of extra cover. Now he's turning to help the M48 Patton by aiming his next shot at the E50 or E56. But there's another enemy tank over here, and in fact he can wipe out the Foch with one round. And he does! Unfortunately, we lost the Patton. The Foch got him just before we got the Foch. So, although that is the first kill for fingernail clipping, we've lost our only player on that side of the map. Or the only remaining player on that side of the map. And now we're 2 down on the enemy. We were 1 up on the enemy at one point. Now we're 2 down. And our H3 has just met the E50 and got wiped out. And that's a direct hit for 455. He's using the extra HE at the moment, the non-stun variety, but it does more damage. And he's decided he's going to move over into this tree line. And again, I think knocking the trees down, he needs to get a bit of extra cover, because it looks like the enemy is probably going to be coming north, and he doesn't want to get spotted by them as they do. In fact, the first one he can see is the T30. He's going to stop by those wrecks to take a shot. We fire a round in. Don't know if that did any damage whatsoever, but he's still firing the non-stun HE. The good news is the E50M is down, which means that at least we're not going to get threatened by that guy. But I would expect the Contender and the Leopard 1 to start moving north, and we may start hearing from them very shortly. He's aimed where he thinks the enemy's going to appear from. Well, he can see the tiger mask, so he's going to expedite that. And the guy is sitting there pushing a wreck, using that for cover. And we did hit him, unfortunately, but he was already dead. Our Heshbon was one who got the kill shot. The leopard has been spotted. He's in the bowl at the moment. Putting more pressure on them. When you get a team where everyone's being squeezed into this northwest corner of the map, it doesn't bode well. We're trying to get a shot on the T-30. Well, the T-30 does go down to our tortoise. But now we're one down on the enemy. And we're running short on ammo as well. This is not good. You only get 20 rounds of ammo, and he must have expended, well, he has expended quite a lot already. And here comes the Type 5 from the other side of the map. He's trying to zigzag as he approaches. And I think that's why he didn't want to get hit by the Arty. And he has been hit, and that's the second kill for Fingernail. Okay, the leopard's getting closer. He's just using the other side of the road as cover. The dip. And they are now starting to fire on us. The M53, M55 just fired a round in very close to where Fingernail Clipping is located. Three left versus 4 of the enemy. Just under 3 minutes left on the game. The game could end very quickly, very suddenly, if the Heshbon goes down. And the enemy RT is firing close. He has got the warning, so at least he knows that there's a shell about to come in. 3,573, and that's not including the blind shots. And there's the 2-minute warning. We're right up against the edge of the map, trying to stay as far away from the bushes as we can to use the bush mechanic. You try not to leave any gaps between the trees when they do fall, but it's very difficult not to get a gap, and sometimes the enemy can see through those gaps. And in fact, here comes the contender, and now the problem is we're right in the tree line, so we might get spotted. That was a direct hit, and we did get spotted. And that was unfortunate. Well, sadly, that one was a loss, but it was a creditable loss for a fingernail clipping because he got a first-class tanker out of it. He also got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 17, and he did so much damage to the enemy, he got a cause medal out of it as well for dealing more damage, exceeding 8 times the hit points for his own vehicle. And his win rate was 5,969, which is super income and a bit more. Let's have a look at the team score. Well, he definitely got the highest damage on his team, but not the highest damage in the game. The E-Fumseek M got 5,225 hit points of damage, and that guy got the Confederate. Second highest damage turned out to be the Sh M55 that fingernail clipping took out. That guy got 5,207 hit points of damage, and he picked up a tank sniper. And the third highest damage, well, that turned out to be a fingernail clipping. He got 4,654 hit points of damage in the end, so quite a bit more than he actually was showing at the end of the game. And when it came to kills, we can see top scorer was the Heshbarn on our team with 4 kills. 3 kills went to the Heshbarn on the enemy team, and 2 kills went to a fingernail clipping, the H3 on our team, and on the enemy team, their Sh M55, their Leopard, the 752, and the M53, M55 on the enemy team got 2 kills as well. He also got a Confederate in that game. In fact, you can see here, 2 of them got Confederates on the enemy team, so they must have had good scores. 8 and 2, yes, so they got a 6 difference there. And I suspect that we didn't quite get that, but we did get the Gauze medal. Anyway, when it comes to base XP, we can see top scorer was, in fact, the Object 752 on the enemy team. 1,053 went to him. He was the only one to get over 1,000. But second place was the E-Formseek M with 944. And in third place, it was the Leopard who managed for 933. Highest on our team, fingernail clipping with 590. He fired 19 rounds, so he only had 1 round left at the end of the game. He got 11 direct hits on the enemy, 1 penetrating shot, and 14 splashes. 4,654 hit points of damage, all of which was at more than 300 meters. Now, which one did he actually penetrate towards the end of the game? I think it was towards the end of the game. It certainly wasn't the Sh M55, and it was, in fact, the Type 5 Heavy. He got a penetrating shot on the Type 5 towards the end of the game. Well, of course, actually, no. I'm thinking about this. The penetrating shot was actually during the battle, where he actually shot an armor-piercing round in, and it went right through the rear of the Type 5 Heavy. That was the penetrating shot. So it wasn't an HE penetration. It was an armor-piercing penetration. So going back to the detail again, he did receive 1 hit. It was a penetrating shot. It was a hit by way of splash. That was the Leopard. 8 enemy vehicles. Oh, and sorry, the splash one was the Arty, the enemy Arty, who did get 1 close to us. 8 enemy vehicles were damaged, 2 were killed. And so there is a 6 difference there, but he got the Gauze medal instead. He also caused 4 stuns, but didn't get any stun assist. Now, on a free-to-play account, he actually made a loss on this game of 22,877 credits because of all the ammunition he fired. And he also did get the Courageous Resistance reward because, of course, he did manage to get a medal in the game, 3,726 credits for that. And he got 930 XP, 590 base, and 340 for Courageous Resistance. So it's bad luck that it wasn't a win, but there again, I think actually that was down to your teammates in the long run because you did a huge amount of damage. It's just they didn't push their advantage. And in fact, when they tried to gain the hill, they unfortunately lost a lot of their tanks on that. And well, then that just kind of left one side of the map open to the enemy. And that's how they managed to kind of shuffle you into one corner and eventually win. Hope you enjoyed that game. If you did, please give this video a like, and thank you for watching.